Welcome to my two-sum solution video. So basically, two-sum is one of the first problems that everyone does on LeetCode, and it's the start of your LeetCode journey. So let's go ahead and start reading through the problem. So given an array of integers, nums, and an integer target, return the indices of two numbers such that they add up to the target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution. So that means there's always a solution given any input. So it'll never just like not work. And you may not use the same element twice. So basically it's saying like if the first element was 2 and the target was 4, you couldn't just say 2 plus 2 equals 4 and return an output array of 0, 0. So to look through this right at the beginning, you can see input and it'll tell you all the inputs, but it won't tell you exactly how they are initialized. So basically, nums, if you read it, you can see that it's in these types of brackets, which lets you know right away that it is an array. And you can see targets and numbers, so it'll probably be an integer. Definitely going to be an integer in this situation. And then you can see output's going to be an array. So you know you have to output an array. You know you're getting an array in and you're getting a integer in. So we read through the problem, and there's the easy way to think about this is you know that one of the numbers has to add up with another one to equal the target number. So if we start looking in this array, and we're going to do it like we're humans and not like we're the computers, we're going to look at the first number and then look at each other number and see if there's one that adds up with it to make 9. And if there's not, we're going to move on to the next one. But when we move on to the next one, we don't have to look at the 2 anymore. We only have to look at the other, the following numbers, since we already did 2 and 7 when we looked at 2. So the best way to think about this is to start with a nested for loop. So we're going to do for int I is equal to 0. I is less than nums.length. So that means that it's going to be looping through each number all the way till the end. We're going to do I++, and in Java that's how you do a for loop. So yeah, right here you can see we're using Java, and you can tell just by the code. So this means it's going to loop through every single item of the array, which is pretty good. Now, for each item, we know we're going to have to loop through each remaining item. So we want to do for another one, int, and use a new variable, j equals, you would think to start with 0, but that'll give you a problem, and I'll show you here in a second. Nums.length, and you would think nums.length would work, and it does actually. So you can just do nums.length, and you want to do j++. Now the problem with starting this at 0 is it can give you the wrong solution. So like if the target was, in this one, 6, and it was 3, it would return 1, 1, which is not what you want. So you have to use this as I, so then j would be looping at the same thing, but you want to go to the next index in the array. So you want to do I plus 1. Okay. Now you're going to, inside that for loop, you want to create a new variable and call it complement. Now, complement. Now I'm going to explain why the complement's important and why you should make a variable for it right now, actually. So basically, the complement is the number that's going to add up with, say, 2 to get 9. So the complement of 2 would be the number that adds up with 2 to get 9, which is the target 9 minus 2, which is 7. So the complement would be 7, which you'll see why that's important here in a second. So you want to do target, since we get the target as an input, you can do target minus nums at I, which nums at I basically means it's the first number that you're choosing. basically. So now you have int complement as a variable. So what you want to do is do some comparing. Compare using if nums at the index k, so that means every number after you picked one of these, so every number to the right, it'll loop through. If that one equals the complement, which means it equals the value that adds up with the value at I, then it's going to return the value of each of the indexes in an array. So in Java, you have to make a new int array, and you want to do it with I and j, because those are your two indexes. This is the first numbers index, this is the second numbers index, and as you can see in the output, that's what it's asking for. Now, since we are in Java, what you have to do is, if for some reason LeetCode provided you an input that did not give you this solution, so say target was like 1,000,000 and it only gave you like 1 and 2, there's not going to be a solution, so it's going to loop through and then it's going to get really confused towards the end. It's just not going to know what to do. So you have to add a throw new illegal argument exception. And I know I'm like decently new to coding, but when I was even newer to coding, I was confused by these real long illegal exceptions and everything to do with throwing. But if you just read each word and you kind of break it down and think about it, you always throw an exception, and these first two words explain what kind of exception is. It's an illegal argument expression, which means the two arguments that you put into this function did not give you a solution, which is illegal based on like the actual question. So it's an illegal argument exception, and then inside it you have to put some text that will print out and say to your user that they screwed something up. So you could say like no, you could say something like LeetCode lied to me. They gave me inputs that don't work. Fuck them. Okay, and then from there you can go ahead and hit submit, and you'll see that this is going to end up working, but it's not, because I used the wrong variable here. Most of you probably caught that while I was going through, but yeah, you want to put in the right one, so put in numsj. And I spelled complement wrong, so there we go. Now let's hope this works, and there we go. As you can see, yeah, accepted. It's not the fastest solution, but it's just breaking it down, kind of trying to explain everything for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm going to be posting more like this one on other LeetCode problems. Alright, goodbye.